Hello, you're listening to Arts Talk Radio, and I'm Michael Hasted. We bring you regular news, reviews and interviews relating to all aspects of the arts in Holland, concentrating on events in Amsterdam, The Hague, Rotterdam and the surrounding areas.
Arts Talk Radio Online. Features on the arts in English.
Following on from the success of the play and dramatised short story that we broadcast recently, here's another short story by ATA BURCHARDT. This one is called The Mouse Coat, and like the first one, Making for Paradise, it's about two young girls in post-war Europe. ATA is with us now. Hello, welcome to Arts Talk Radio.
Hello.
Now, the story we're going to hear today is based very much more on actual events than the first story we heard, which was called, what was the first one called?
Making for Paradise.
That was a fictionalised account of what happened when you were a very small child, and I think this story we're going to hear now is much more literal.
Yes, absolutely. It's a story between two children. We lived in this terrible house which had been bombed and badly repaired, and it was just full of mice. And my older sister, who was extremely adventurous, had this idea.
Well, don't give the story away.
Okay. She had ideas of wanting to be a grand lady and have a fur coat, basically.
And this is your sister, who has also figured very largely in the book you're working on at the moment. What's that called?
The book is in two parts. It's called The Tin Spoon, which goes up to my 10th year, and then after that in France it goes up to my 17th year when I left for London. And it's basically the story between the relationship between my rebellious and very reckless sister and myself within the family group and within the family dynamic. And then later in London, when we both lived in London, then things really took quite a bad turn.
Because I think she was quite a rebel, I think would be a polite way of putting it.
Today you would probably take a child like that to a psychologist, because she was very badly affected by what happened to her when she was very small, the aftermath of the war, my dysfunctional father, my despairing mother. And so all that played into her kind of rebellion. Plus she looked rather strange. She looked oriental for some strange inherited reason. And so she always felt very different and she hated it. She used to run around the house crying, I want to be ordinary, I want to be normal. So this played out right through to when she actually died. So I don't really want to give too much away of that.
But despite her need or want to be normal, she was in fact quite extraordinary. The story we're going to hear now is a story which is, I think, is it actually in the book, the story?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so this is a self-contained story, but it is very much part of The Tin Spoon, which will be hopefully published fairly soon. Okay, well, thank you very much, ATA BURCHARDT. We will now listen to The Mouse Coat. The Mouse Coat by ATA BURCHARDT.
The mouse lies splayed, its pink, delicate limbs contracting in erratic spasms. Soon they will stop. This time the wire has snapped clean on the neck. This is how my sister Britta prefers it. I guiltily agree. At least it was a quick death. Sometimes we find the mice lying sideways in the trap with bellies squelching, or upside down with their pink, trembling noses pointing at us. Britta's preference for the neck snap has a different reason. That way, it doesn't damage the fur, she says. We sit on the stairs that run down from the spooky attic. The dust lies so thick, it muffles our hushed voices, swallows the words like the black mouth of the rapacious beast that lives in the corners where light never shines. We have never seen it, but we are certain of it. Britta has convinced me that she has heard it, from time to time, when she's alone. Giant spiders and other monsters, live among the broken floorboards. The wooden stairs are rough, but our bottoms are so cold we don't notice the splinters. We usually find the trapped mice in the triangular space under the stairs where the brooms and the cleaning buckets are kept. A damp fungus stink of dust and dirty rags itches in our nose when we quickly reach and pick up the mouse trap. Britta is nearly 7, I am 4.5. She is trying to prise the wire off the mouse's neck. I put my hands over my eyes. If the mouse makes a sound, it is too small for me to hear. I'll cut the head off, and when we've caught enough mice, I'll make us a fur coat. I'll wear it on Saturdays and Sundays and Monday and on Tuesday. You can have it on the other days. I'm not surprised she has reserved the most important days of the week for herself. She can already see herself parading up and down on Sundays, watched by envious neighbours. She will do all the work, so I'm almost grateful. I'll only have to freeze on 4 days of the week, not 7. We both crave a fur coat. 2 fur coats are almost the only things my mother saved when she fled from her home during the war. The fur coat and a crocodile handbag and matching shoes. My sister and I have long agreed that fur coats must be very important. Why else would she take them rather than her family, her piano, or even her adored fiancé? The kitchen door facing us is open a crack. I can see my mother boiling the washing in a tin bath, stirring it with a big stick on the large range where the fire burns day and night. The fire must never go out or we shall freeze. Hubertina is our neighbour's daughter. She looks like a scrawny, bloodless chicken with a skin rash and constantly scratches her neck raw. She says someone in the next street let the fire go out and the blankets froze to a boy's body in the night. Hubertina is 9, so we believe her. My imagination races. I can see the weeping parents by the bed in the morning. They discover their boy in the folds of the blanket, hard and stiff and white, the frost standing on it like icing sugar. He has turned into a sausage wrapped in white paper. The ends are twisted like a boiled sweet. Next to our kitchen there is another room, separated only by a curtain which was once a bedspread in my grandmother's Viennese apartment. No doubt she imagines that her gift graces a nice clean bed with lace pillowcases. If she saw it today, she would, as always, make sure that she had been seen crying silently by the window to show everyone how much she is suffering. In between crying bouts, which could last for several weeks, she would pause to reflect, to no one in particular, how we have fallen, before weeping on. The room next to the kitchen is a no-go area. No man's land, as my father calls it. The centre floorboards are broken. So is the joist underneath, so is the ceiling on the ground floor. A bomb fell right through the middle of the house, we are told. If we peek into the dark room, we can see the family on the ground floor sitting at table. I have dreamt that I walk into this room only to find myself falling onto their dining table and into their big tureen of pea soup and being eaten along with the sausages which float around in it. When the bomb fell through the house, they were not at table, though sometimes I wish that they had been. When they are eating, we sit in our kitchen and speak in hushed voices. They are proper Germans, we are told by my father, not refugees like us from a faraway land. They do not like us and find any excuse to speak badly of us. In the beginning, whenever my mother set foot outside the front door, the woman below would rush to her window, tear it open and shout, "Go home, you gypsies!" We would both search my mother's face for a sign of indignation. She pretended not to hear the insults and continued to smile at us as she walked down the street. Other women leaning against their front doors, gossiping, would say similar things within our hearing. Sitting on the bottom step of the stairs, we can hear our mother at the kitchen range. The floorboards creak each time she moves. Perhaps one day they will break, like the ones in the other room. Across the landing, Mr. Szymanski's leg went through a hole in the floor. My father was called to help the screaming man who was clinging to the joists. His leg was hanging through the downstairs ceiling. No one else came to help because Mr. Szymanski is Polish. We each have one pair of stockings, one pair of knickers, one dress and one cardigan. Drying our few clothes over the kitchen range is a complicated juggling act for my mother, and it takes most of the night. The stockings and woolens hang on the brass bar that runs around the entire range. My father's work clothes hang on a washing line above and also need regular turning. He works as a lumberjack now, and his clothes smell of resin. To me, it is the best smell in the world. When he comes home, he brings me little splinters of pine full of sticky resin. He lights them for me. They hiss and spit and burn like magic candles. After his supper, he lies on the sofa and listens to opera on the radio. His hands are not used to the rough work. They bleed, and my mother sits on the edge of the sofa and disinfects them. But they talk about how they used to go to the opera, and the dresses and the jewels she used to wear. It sounds like the king's castle in my storybook, full of princesses wearing tiaras. We are not supposed to sit on the cold stairs, so we make ourselves very small for fear of being discovered by my mother. "How many mice do we need to make a coat?" I whisper. "Not many," Britta says with an important air. "I'll stretch the skins." Perhaps if we'd caught a crocodile, my sister would now have plans to make a handbag and shoes. They are vicious beasts. Skinning a crocodile would not seem so bad to me, and we could make a necklace from the teeth. Perhaps I can change my sister's mind before she gets going on the mouse with my mother's potato knife. "Just think how many shoes we could make out of a crocodile," I offer. "Stupid. Where can I find a crocodile here?" comes the reply. "There is a zoo in Brussels. Mama told me." I argue in a futile hope of putting off the gruesome skinning of the mouse. Britta has got it all worked out. "You just cut there." She shows me the soft pink belly. "Then you peel the skin off, like a sock." She read it in a book about Red Indians, she says. "Do we have to cut off the heads?" I cringe. My shoulders go up, my mouth pulls wide and down in fear and disgust. I can already see Britta swinging my father's axe down on the tiny creature. "Of course we do!" She's outraged by my lack of sense. We can't go out into the street with all those mouse faces hanging from our coat. And the pink ears? People would laugh at us.
The Mouse Coat by ATA BURCHARDT was read by CAIT DAVIS and produced by Michael Hasted for Arts Talk Radio.
Arts Talk magazine provides the perfect companion to Arts Talk Radio, with reviews and previews in English of cultural events in Holland. Whatever your interest in the arts, our international team of writers will always provide something new and exciting to see online. That's Arts Talk Magazine, all one word, .nl. artstalkmagazine.nl.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this week. This is Arts Talk Radio, and my name's Michael Hasted. If you have any comments, please leave them in the box below. So until the next time, it's goodbye from me. Bye.